Hi, I'm attorney Gregory Dell here with attorney Victor Pena, and we're going to talk about Sun Life disability denials, specifically how to handle a Sun Life appeal once your claim has been denied. So we've handled hundreds of claims against Sun Life for claimants all over the country. And when it comes to Sun Life, I want to, as a roadmap for this, talk about what a person should expect, what's different about Sun Life when they handle a claim and their denial letters, and then talk about the strategies that we put in place when we're representing a claimant to file their claim for a Sun Life disability denial. So let's first start off right off the bat about a person gets this letter, they've been denied by Sun Life. What are the first steps that we're going to take on their behalf to set up a strategy for their claim?
Well, first, you obviously have to read the denial letter very carefully to see what exactly they relied on to deny the claim. Once you pick out those points, you obviously need the claim file. First thing you request from Sun Life, a complete copy of the claim file. We've got a really detailed list that we would send over to Sun Life, asking them to provide everything that they relied on, everything that they have as it relates to the claim. So they'll have 30 days to get that over to us. Once you get that claim file, then you obviously want to pick through everything that they relied on, everything in the denial letter that they claimed was served as a basis to deny the claim.
And then those claim files can be anywhere from 500 to 20,000 pages, so it's a lot to go through that claim file. Now, when you get the claim file, and we're going to push through a lot of this stuff relatively quickly, what are the first things you're looking for? What's important to you when you want to set your strategy to get this person back on claim?
I'd say the medical records.
Okay.
The medical records are the number one most important thing in any claim. So you want to pick through those medical records, see how strong they are. If it was a statement from a doctor, often it's an attending physician statement that the insurance company, Sun Life, relied on to deny the claim. You obviously want to get that. If they did any independent medical reviews, a lot of times they'll do peer reviews. They'll have their own doctors review the medical records. And then write reports as to what their opinions are. So you want to pick out those reports from the claim file and see exactly what they said.
So you want the medical records not just of the claimant from their treating doctors, but you also really want to look at the reviews that were done by the insurance company's hired doctors.
Right.
One of the things that I find unique about Sun Life is that I often have a variety of in-house go-to doctors or doctors who may not be in-house, but they're regularly the same consultants that they go back and forth to, whether it's a neurologist, an orthopedic, a family medicine doctor, pain management doctor, occupational medicine doctor. It's the same ones that they like to go to, a lot of the times to handle their claims. So once you have all of this, you've set up the medical records for the, of the client, and you looked at their reviews, what's your plan of attack moving forward generally?
Well, it really depends on the basis for the denial. So if they did their own functional capacity evaluation, for example, we may want to set one up. We want to make sure to fill in those gaps or at least have something to respond with. So you want to have your own independent functional capacity evaluation. Often if they did a neuropsychological evaluation, for example, you may want to have another neuropsychologist review the raw data to see if they actually properly evaluated the data in that case.
Okay. One of the things that I know we always do on every claim, which I think is unique to our law firm, is the custom attending physician statements that we do. What are those and why are those so important?
Well, the statements that you'll get or the questionnaires that you'll get from Sun Life, they tend to be very general. So every case is different. All the questions are not going to be the same. And what we'll do is, depending on we'll take into account their reasons for denying the claim and make sure to ask the doctors the right questions, making sure that they're providing the right answers. So we'll draft these questionnaires to fill in the gaps.
And the level of questionnaires will always depend upon the occupational duties of the claimant, what they were doing, their definition of disability. Some may be their own occupation, some may be any occupation. And then obviously looking specifically at the disabling medical condition and talking to the claimant about their symptoms. Because when the claimants go to the doctors, they're going in, talking about some of their symptoms, and the doctors is treating the patient, not the chart. But they're not talking about things you can or can't do, and they're certainly not looking at your ability to sit in a chair for 6 hours a day continuously without a break, or stand for 2 hours, or multitask, or be available for meetings whenever, or drive to meetings, or lift things. Or they're not talking about that. They're talking about trying to manage your pain or whatever your symptoms are that are going on. And when they look at the forms from the insurance company, they're not equating the way they're treating you when you go in there for what's going on in your daily life to how that relates to really working, an 8-hour-a-day legitimate workday. And that's the biggest difference. That's where we come in and work with the doctors to help convey that message to the insurance company, and very hard for the claimants to do on their own. Once you're gathering all your appeals, talk about the importance of, if it's in an own occupation or in any occupation, working with a vocational consultant. How does that become important in terms of proving the occupational duties of the claimant and why they can't do it?
Right. So whenever Sun Life is evaluating a claim, they'll take into account, if you're in the own occupation phase, for example, they're going to ask for a job description from your employer. They're going to look at that job description, but they're not going to rely just on the particular duties that are listed there. So usually their review is on a national scale. So they'll look to see how that particular job, what description it fits on a similar job in the national economy. So it's really important that whoever's performing that vocational assessment, usually they'll retain someone to perform that vocational assessment. They'll break down the occupation, and then they'll describe what occupation that'll fall in, what category that falls in. So it's really important that they properly classify that. When you're talking about an any occupation standard, it gets a little bit more detailed. So they'll look not only to what you were doing before, but they look at your background, your education, your experience. But what they tend to do is they tend to simplify it. They tend to basically, as long as you can perform a sedentary occupation, is usually what it comes down to, then they say that you can work. So it shouldn't be that simple. They should look into your background, they look at your education, your experience, etc., and then find if in the national economy there are occupations that meet that criteria.
Right, because they'll basically make a conclusion, well, the doctor said you could sit for 6 hours a day, therefore you should do the job, regardless of the skills of the job. So we'll work with vocational experts to get away from these classifications of sedentary, light duty, medium duty, heavy duty, and really dig into the duties of the job. And then the other thing is that labor market analysis that the Vokes do to say, oh, jobs in the national economy. Well, if you're in Paducah, Kentucky, and they're talking about all these different jobs that aren't available in your market, but yet you'd have to go 100, 200, 300 miles away or 500 miles, that's not going to work either. It's got to be jobs available in your market that could possibly be available. So we work with our own experts to bring up those reports as well and look at possible available jobs if there was anything that you could remotely do. But the reality is that most times you couldn't do the job anyhow, and it's still not available as a job. So we have other videos talking about how important these ERISA appeals are, the fact that you only get one bite of the apple and you got to get everything in. But let's just talk for a minute. Very unique to Sun Life, you and I were talking about before the video, is where they will be doing an appeal and they'll call the claimant and be like, how do you feel about taking like a settlement, because we're probably going to deny your claim anyhow, and they offer some lowball offer, which is like a 6 to 9 month, maybe even a year of benefits, and then they want you to go away.
Right.
And what do you tell people? I mean, that's a lot of the calls we get is, oh, they're offering me some number, should I take it?
You should obviously immediately contact an attorney. So what we're seeing, and it's specific to Sun Life, it usually occurs right around that change in definition, where it changes from own occupation to any occupation. And then, so they'll contact the claimant and say, we just did an any occupation review. The definition of disability is changing in your policy. We had to evaluate whether or not you're going to meet the terms of the policy going forward. But we did a medical review and it looks like the claim is going to be denied. However, they'll offer you this a specific amount of money. If you take that settlement, then they won't deny the claim. They'll tell you that, okay, take this. They'll go ahead and close the claim, but you'll get something rather than nothing. A lot of people take it. It's not a good idea to just take it. You should contact an attorney and review everything before you decide to take any sort of money from the insurance company or sign your rights away to future benefits.
Right, and we'll go through that offer and tell you right away if we think, hey, your claim is really bad, that you're lucky to get that, then we'll tell you to take it. If we think we're going to have a chance to win or maximize the recovery, then we're obviously going to tell you that as well. And the other thing about Sun Life is, to their credit, usually they write a very long denial letter, more so than the other companies. I think that's just that their employees are probably trained better than some of the much bigger disability insurance companies because they don't have as much volume. And so for that, it can make the case a little bit more difficult because they may have done a more thorough job reviewing the claim than, say, a Unum, Prudential, or a Cigna insurance company, just because they're better at doing it. Doesn't mean it's not an appeal that we can win, but it could be a more challenging thing, and you clearly want to have someone very experienced to review your claim and do that for you.
Right. Reviewing their denial letters can seem overwhelming. You'll get like 30, 40-page denial letter where in another carrier would be 5 pages.
And a lot of it's just a regurgitation of your own medical records, and then, 1 page is maybe what they found.
Right.
So, important for you to know, we don't charge any fees or costs unless we make a recovery for you. That's obviously a factor. You may be thinking, oh, I'm going to have to pay this firm tens of thousands of dollars up front to try to have them help us. That's not the case at all. We created the contingency fee model so that you only pay us if we make a recovery from your benefits, and we look forward to discussing that fee structure with you. We've handled these claims all over the country for claimants nationwide, and no matter where you live, we're able to help you. You're never going to have to leave your house to do anything with the claim. So it's very convenient. Everything's paperless, email or fax, and we'll take care of everything. Certainly, you probably don't live in the area where Sun Life is administering your claim, so it doesn't matter that your law firm isn't right next to you, because you're not going to have to come in and see us or bring us anything. So that's a huge convenience factor that we offer for the claimant. So easiest thing to do is either click the free consultation button on our website, which will go to one of our attorneys who will call you back right away. You can give us a call. One of our lawyers will take your call. We're going to ask you to send us a copy of your denial letter. We're going to review it immediately and let you know the pros and cons of your claim and whether or not it's a claim that we could accept and if we could get you money. We look forward to speaking with you, and we thank you for considering our law firm.